Hi guys, welcome back to Saving Salvage and welcome back to the channel. Right, in today's video there is a very slight Mustang update, and we'll be back on the 3.2 today, purely because if you remember my last video I said that the headlight, the near side headlight is coming from Poland and wouldn't be here till this week. It actually turned up on Friday, I think it was. A bit of a shock. So I hadn't booked the welder to come and weld the chassis legs because I didn't know when the headlight was going to properly turn up. So turned up early. So as you can see, I got too excited basically and chucked all the panels on quickly off camera just to see what it looked like. And well, let's have a look at the results. So there she is. Look, I just quickly whipped the bonnet on, put the bumper on, a couple of bolts on each wing. And look at that. All the lines are absolutely perfect. So you can see there, look, absolutely perfect. Obviously bearing in mind that the bonnet is just resting, it's not locked in or anything, but absolutely perfect. And again, this side just needs a little bit of adjustment, but again, spot on. Headlights all in position, everything lines up, everything is spot on. And that's everything's just resting there. I've literally just whipped it on quickly, so there's still loads of little adjustments I can make, but as a quick whip on, it's come out pretty damn good. But unfortunately there will be no video on the Mustang today because obviously, as I just said, the headlight turned up early and I hadn't booked a welder, and the welder is the next thing that we can do. So we are going to be getting it off the ramp, which is a complete ball ache because I have to keep bringing the transporter in, lowering it on, takes like 20 minutes to get it off. But we need the ramp for the 3.2 because what we're going to do is going to bring it in and we're going to whip the hopefully take the transfer box off and have a look at the prop shaft fault. And then that will be a 3.2 done as well. I was going to start on the A3 today, but I don't want to keep starting loads of things and have about 4 cars that I need to finish. So we've still got the wing on the S3 to do as well, but it's proper cold outside today, so bodywork's probably not great. So hopefully the plan is the 3.2 fix will be fairly straightforward, I'm hoping. Then that car will be completely done, bar the bodywork. So yeah, basically I want to get the 3.2 done before I start that because I just don't want loads of things going on at once. I'll get all confused and annoyed because I've got loads of things going on and none of them finished. So 3.2 is going to be the main priority for today. Hopefully going to get that done. As always guys, if you do enjoy these videos, please do subscribe and like. Right, so that's it guys, let's crack on with the 3.2. Right, there we go, finally got the A3 on the ramp after all that faffing around with the Mustang. Got my trusty torch all set up, ready to show you. Right, so today we are going to be looking at getting the transfer box off to identify the issue with the prop shaft not turning. I've just had a quick look. If you can see, the prop shaft is there. I've had a quick look, it does spin. Spins nice and freely, there's nothing, it's not seized or anything like that. So our transfer box is this thing here. So normally if you didn't have one, you'd have a passenger side. So you've got the gearbox outputs here. You've got one, it's going to be quite hard to show you, but you've got one just this side, which goes to the passenger side wheel, drive shaft here. And then you've got one for the driver's drive shaft here. And normally, if you didn't have a transfer box or four-wheel drive, the driver's side gearbox flange would come out straight from the gearbox, drive shaft straight to the driver's wheel. But with a transfer box, you have the box bolted on first, and then you have the flange up here bolted on that, and then that leads to the driver's wheel, which then gives you this box here, which allows for, if you can see it in there, look, the prop shaft flange to then obviously go to the rear wheels. So the issue is Oh, actually, I don't know the issue yet. I'm assuming the issue is that the spline for the prop shaft has worn smooth in the transfer box, because the prop shaft should always be turning regardless, and it doesn't. So it should only really lead to one problem. Must be a worn spline shaft in there somewhere. So we're going to whip it out. Hopefully whip it out. It sounds easy, but 1, 2, I think it's 4 bolts. Take the drive shaft out for the driver's side. There's a long Allen key holding the flange in, and then hopefully it should come out. Fingers crossed. Right, so we've got the old transfer box out. Wasn't too bad in the end, fairly straightforward. Right, so our issue is, so when our drive shaft flanges both turn like that, look, so when I turn it like that, and you can see that one moving as well, the prop shaft one, which is here, that should also turn, and as you can see, it doesn't. So that's our problem. So we're going to have to whip this case off and have a look just in there, and I expect to see a worn spline of some description. Right, so I've managed to take the diff apart, and yes, before anyone says, I know I spilled a load of oil, but when I was actually starting stripping it and tipping it upside down, it didn't actually look like there was any oil in it, so I just carried on knocking it apart, and worst case scenario, just got to put a bit of granules down. It's no biggie. But this is the most mangled diff I've ever seen in my life. It is not a case of one little bearing or one little spline gone. The whole thing has literally blown up. So look in there, look at that, all that swarf, look at that. This is, right, that bit here, I'm pointing my torch to, that is the output, so that was the spline for the prop shaft. So if I just give that a wiggle, look at that, look at that, absolutely mangled. So, and there is the spline as well, just completely worn smooth, absolute, it's just blown up. So when that must have gone, that must have been fairly obvious that it had gone. Maybe that was the reason it was parked up, maybe that was the reason it was abandoned, and maybe I just got sold a sob story with timing chain. Maybe they just heard a big bang while they were driving, pulled over, got it recovered, and never drove it again. Who knows? But that would have definitely caused some chaos when it went, because that looks horrendous. Look at that. Horrendous. So, definitely need a new diff. Right guys, so now we know we need a new transfer box for the A3. Just been trying to source one, not really much available. I've sent a few inquiries, so I'll see what comes back. So now we're stuck on the A3, we're gonna have to push that out. So I thought what we could do now is my coil pack for the S3 has turned up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit it, obviously then subsequently take it for a road test, make sure that's all fine. And then, if it is all fine, I'm gonna do my first Dragy experiment. Never used it before, so we'll see how it goes. Basically I'll try and do like a 0 to 60 and maybe like a second and third gear pull. I'll see what happens. So we'll go fit this coil pack and then take the S3 for a spin. Right, I've just fitted the coil pack. I didn't film it because I filmed swapping them over, so don't want to repeat myself. So I've just got my Dragy GPS thing. I don't know where you're meant to put this. I'm just going to leave it on the chair. There is an app which I am now going to hopefully connect to. Connect. I think it automatically turns on. 81% battery, so that's good. Right, just pulled over on my oh, there's a car coming now on my private airfield. Unbelievable. I've got cars on my private airfield. Right, we're going to do a 0 to 60. That's what I'm going for. Just wish these people would get off my private place. Right, let's give it a go. Let's see what it does. See if this thing works. It's all automatic apparently. Don't know what this should be 0 to 60 standard, but we'll give it a go. Right, we're gonna have another go. Oh, fuel light. Oh, fuck's sake, car coming. Right, so that is our first impression of Dragy. No, I don't think it's the apps. I think I got low satellite signal. My phone 4G started messing up, so I think it kept disconnecting while I was trying it. So I tried like 5 or 6 runs, only got 3. But then I don't know if they cut out or not. They weren't great. So it's just an initial first play. So the best I got, 0 to 60, but I just had a look. This should be 6.5 seconds to 60, and actually I've got 3 runs. First one I got 7.7. The second one, which was my only one that was actually valid, was 7.25, but that was with nearly a degree of incline. And the one that was invalid was 6.4 I got, but that was with a slope of -2. So it's quite hard where I am. There's not really many flat roads at all. I can imagine if I did it a few more times, got my launch a bit better, yeah, possibly 6.7, 6.8. Obviously it's going to be a few horses down from when it was new. It is 110,000 miles, hasn't been driven for a while, so and it's going to have lost a few horsepower over the years. So I mean, I'd expect some around 6.7 to 6.8, which to be fair I'd probably get if I was on a dead flat and I'd given it a couple more goes. Quarter mile, I don't think there was any that I actually, yeah, there was one here that I think there was only one where I actually kept going all the way for a quarter of a mile, and it's 15.3 seconds, which doesn't actually sound too bad, but again, that was invalid just for a minus 0.12 slope, which is barely anything, but because they're invalid if they're over, you get a degree either side, plus or minus a degree you get, well I suppose it can be valid if you're 5 degrees up a hill, that's your own stupid fault, but it's invalid if it's more than a degree downhill over the whole, I think, yeah, over the whole duration, and mine was minus 1.2. So yeah, that says 15.3 seconds for a quarter mile, so realistically it'd probably be 15.5 or 6 maybe, so that's not too bad. But as an initial run, traffic's really bad today as well, so that didn't help, but as an initial run, that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dedicated video on this. I'm just going to take loads of the cars out and give them a go. I need to find a proper area to do it. I really want to test the S4 because I'm really interested in what that's going to do. Obviously the 3.2 we now can't do because we now got to find a transfer box, but yeah, it seems good. So I reckon I need to give that another go. But guys, that is all I have time for in today's video. If you do like and enjoy these videos, please do give it a like and a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe. And also, if you haven't already, please do head over to my Instagram page, which is saving_salvage, just for a few pics during the week, etc. And yeah, join me next time, and I'll hopefully take this out again for another test of Dragy, and possibly the Mustang, as long as the welder turns up. So yeah, cool. See you next time, guys. Cheers.